Awakening with Brahma Kumaris.
Om Shanti and a very warm welcome to Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. It's a journey we've undertaken and it's a wonderful journey. We're really enjoying it. And the meditation technique we tried to understand in the last episode is really helping us out. I can make it out from your mails and phone calls. Let's move ahead and try to find out this awareness of my own self and this relationship with God and reaching out to my own self and to God through this meditation. How is it going to help in my relationship with others? And to take us through this journey, as always, it's a great privilege to have Brahma Kumaris Sr Jayanti with us, who is a European Director of Brahma Kumaris and also the NGO representative at United Nations in Geneva. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Sister Jayanti, it has been a wonderful experience. You know, those small techniques, small inputs really helped all of us in this meditation aspect of it. Remembrance. We don't call it meditation anymore. But now, when I know who am I in reality, when I live with this awareness the whole day, and then whenever I want, I can remember him, I can feel connected, I can get that power. The only problem which is coming now is that I forget when I'm interacting with others, It's not happening. And then I realize it afterwards, when the episode is over or when I've met the other person, that I was not with the awareness. Because being aware about yourself, when I'm alone or when I'm with him, it's okay. But the moment others come, I again go back to the old me who is actually into all those things. Can I help it?
It's a reality that we're creatures of habit. And even, for example, if somebody tells you if you sit like this, your back's going to ache. If you sit like this, your shoulders are going to pain. Don't sit like this, sit like this. You'll remember it for a while and then you'll forget it. Unless you've decided that you're going to take it on board and it's really going to help you, and so you're going to give it your attention. And if you give it your consistent attention over a period of time, yes, you'll sit in the right posture, your shoulders will be okay, your back will be okay. Or like when you walk, you'll walk in the right way. So the point is that when you've developed a bad habit, to change it and put it right takes a fair amount of attention. And so we've got into the habit of being body conscious, seeing others in body consciousness, forgetting about the being who's up above. And so old habits pull very strongly.
Yeah, I think, but the way you said it's actually very true. That if I know the benefits, if I really know how it's going to change my relationship, because I think the major problem is in relationships, because all those old things come and take over. So how is it going to benefit me if I start living with the awareness of others as well in our relationship? If we really understand that, it might be possible that I'll remember it.
Think about a simple formula. If you multiply half and half, what does it make?
1/4.
Correct, you're a mathematician. So it makes a quarter. And what we've usually thought is that half, it's the pennies dropped. I can see it in your eyes. So we think that half and half, we're going to come together and we're going to be one. But that's not true. Because I bring all my baggage with myself and you bring yours too. And so instead of complementing each other, and we could become one, but instead of that, it's a friction that's happening, it's a multiplication that's happening. And so we're taking away each other's energy and we're actually taking, we're not giving to each other, but we're trying to take from each other. And imagine here's a piece of string and two people are pulling on it at the same time. It's just going to break. And so this is why relationships today are so fragile. And it's because I think we've all become very depleted. And so we want to take, we want to receive. Now imagine, if I turn to the source and there's an unending supply, non-stop, non-stop. And I can replenish myself whenever it is I remember and whenever it is I choose to, then I have enough. When I come into contact with you, it's not in order to take from you anymore.
Because I'm already full. Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. And so the equation changes. If one side is saying, okay, that's all right, you want to take, I'm willing to give. The other one gets a bit surprised at first. but that's then a transformation that's happened. And so if I remember that it's going to do two things if I stay connected with the one above. One is that it's going to free me up from any dependency on any human being. Amazing. Freedom is freedom of the spirit, when I don't need to depend on anything or anyone outside of me except the one up above. And secondly, it means that I can also now give. And that's a very sweet feeling to have. There's somebody I know who has this mantra, nobody loves me, nobody
It's not just with somebody. I think it's with everyone. We're all asking for it, actually.
And of course, you see, what's happened is that instead of a genuine love that's able to be giving and supportive and inspiring and encouraging, love has become a contract. I will give you this if you give this to me. And it's not even a contract of justice. It's a very unjust contract sometimes. But it's become a bargaining point, and we think it's a commodity for sale. We've forgotten that it's something that belongs to God, and like the sunshine is to be shared with everyone. But you know how they try to bottle up the sunshine today and sell it, so we think that love is also something for sale. And so it's become a little bit polluted today. And it's only when you experience God's pure love that then you realize that there is that quality of love that I can also learn from.
Even if I don't expect their expectations, am I going to be able to fulfill? They remain there. And at times, then they take your advantage. That's what I feel. So these are the few things which actually I want, how I can handle them.
There's a few questions that you asked, and so let's see what we can do. And what happens in terms of habits is that if there's an insight you have that I have to do this if I'm going to be able to move forward, and if I don't do this, I'm going to remain stuck, and then I have an option. And so then I have to see, where do I want to go? Stuck, or do I want to move ahead?
Yeah.
And if I want to move ahead, then I have to have the willpower, and I have to lift myself up and be able to do what I need to do. And so if I want to let things ride as they are, sometimes pain, sometimes sorrow, sometimes this, sometimes that, it's okay, I can stay there. If I want things to change, then I'll have to take that step forward. And in this case, it means that I bring into the relationship between you and me that being. So instead of just seeing you, even as a soul, because even I, the soul, seeing you as a soul, still past habits creep in, I'm going to put that being of light between you and me.
Okay.
So that my interaction with you is not directly you and me, but it's going to be through the divine. And so I'm going to see God between you and me. It's a question of just awareness and my consciousness. People say that God is omnipresent, and my understanding is that God is up above in Paramdham, the supreme region. But yet I can understand why people say this, because if I ask God to be here in front of me, if I invoke Him with love, He will be present in front of me. And so now that I have God between you and me, I won't allow that old pattern to come out, because I'm relating not to you, I'm relating to God. And it's a trick of the consciousness, it's a method to use. And I've used it with a lot of effect, so that then I don't get influenced by the other person's vibrations, but also I don't react to the other person as I normally have been all the time.
But usually the reactions are so fast. That the time to think, to bring God is actually, it's a trick. It's a technique.
It's a precaution you take before you get into the interaction. It's like, I know I'm going to be meeting you, and I know my past track record with you, and so I have to be cautious.
So I carry
That's
God
right.
with me.
So-
Good, that's great.
So before I enter that exchange with you, I say, Baba, you have to be here. And I bring Baba into the picture. And I begin my conversation in that awareness. And so Baba will stay with me if I ask him to be there.
And then I'll not do anything wrong. I can't.
Yeah.
Because I'll know who am I.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That'll work.
It works very well. It works beautifully.
Okay.
So you just have to remember, before you meet somebody, before you enter the conversation, that you have a moment of silence and you invoke Baba and you bring Baba into the picture.
But during my whole conversation, will I remember that he's also there?
Maybe not, but you've started in the right way. And so things are going to begin better than they would have otherwise. And so at least for some part of the conversation, there would have been good things that have been built up. And so hopefully you're on a good roll. And so it'll carry on like that. But yes, it just depends on how aware I am and how much I hold Baba there with me.
Another thing which I want to ask before we move ahead into relationship is, if I'm not able to do it, like if I'm not, if there is a situation which has always created bad blood and I forget who am I and I create the same situation. Now, because I'm living in awareness, I start scolding myself. Earlier it was easier to put the blame on somebody else. Now it is even much more difficult. So how do I forgive myself? Because it becomes difficult for me to forgive myself.
I think I have to accept my own human weaknesses and say that, well, this is where I'm at now, and at least now I can see very clearly where it is I want to go, and I'm going to take it a step at a time. And if I can change this much today, that's okay. Tomorrow I'll change this much.
So
the
it's
next day,
okay if I make mistakes in my journey itself.
if I'm an effort maker, allowing for mistakes is fine, but it means that I learn from my mistakes. Not that I repeat the same mistake 2 times, 3 times, and I say, well, I'm learning. Oh, when am I going to learn? But yes, I will make mistakes. I have to accept that. But I have to learn from my mistakes so that I don't repeat the same mistakes
Because
again and again.
when I know that it's a mistake, it can't be repeated, actually.
Yes, exactly.
It shouldn't be repeated. Okay, now again we come back to the relationship aspect. When we really are, the problems where I think is that when we feel that we're too attached and we think it's our strength, I can't live without her or I can't live without him. It's like I think it's my strength. I think this is the biggest form of love I can actually offer. But I think somewhere this, because it doesn't feel good.
If I think about the family, then the unit of the family is the basic unit of society. And that has been so from the days of Satyug, right all the way through till the end of Kalyug, and now we are seeing even that unit is disintegrating. And so you are right, on one level it is our strength, because the family unit is the basic foundation of civilization. But what's happened to that is that A, love has become a contract in business, but B, it's become filled with a lot of possessiveness. And so where I say, you are mine, you belong to me, well, wait a minute, who do I belong to? And if I belong to the one above, how can anyone here belong to me? They can't. I have to give them the space and freedom for them also to belong to one. But when I've forgotten about soul consciousness and I'm in this awareness of the physical body, the insecurity that I have makes me cling to whoever it is who's closest to me and I'm very possessive, and I strangle them out of that possessiveness. Give an example. Here's a flower, and the flower is so beautiful. It's sitting in the garden, and I say, I want it to belong to me. I cut the flower and I hold it in my hand. I kill it. How long is it going to last? It's going to last a few minutes or a few hours. Okay, at least let me put it in some water so that it can live and breathe for a little while longer. But no, I want to hold it in my hands. And so the degree of possessiveness that we have is one in which we're strangling each other. We're not giving each other freedom and space to be ourselves or even to belong to God.
But then when I want to experience that feeling, that is so overpowering that I want to experience that feeling of holding that flower actually. So I, don't mind killing that flower.
Well, then that's the question. Is it that I'm appreciating the beauty of the flower, or am I going to give way to my feelings, which I now recognize are so dangerous and are going to be negative for the life of that flower? And so I think you have to educate yourself. Who can truly be my teacher? Even God can teach me. But if I'm not willing to accept those teachings and teach myself, I will never learn. And so I have to be my own teacher in these situations. And I have to ask myself, is my love for the flower, it's an analogy, but anyway, you understand, is my love for the flower such that I want it to live? Or is my love for the flower such that I want it to die? That's an education.
But I'm so afraid that someone else will take that flower. That I'm not just talking about the flower, but I'm talking about really in the relationships.
I understand.
See, the insecurity is that if I don't give all I have, if I don't make the other person dependable on me, the other person will move away, will move that far off, and then I'll not have that person. But that's actually suffocating. I can understand that, but that's what is happening in the relationships today.
It's because I don't trust the power of pure love. If I can offer pure love to the flower or to the human being, then the power of pure love is such that it protects and it helps and it empowers. So I don't need to worry about somebody else. I don't need to bring in any other person further into the equation. It's me, my relationship with God, and my connection with the other.
And I think somewhere if we look at the ownership aspect, especially in the parent-child relationship, I've seen a lot of parents actually that they own it. He's my child. He's going to do what I say.
The realization that I don't know this child. This child has come to me as a gift. From where the child came, I do not know. Where the child's headed to, I do not know. I can show the child a track, a path, and hope that destiny has nothing but the best for this child. But I don't know. But what I can do is allow the child to grow in God's light. Put the child in God's sunshine so that the child can see God, know God, and then I can say, I've done what I needed to do. My role as a trustee was to make sure that that child was able to know God and walk in God's light, which means understanding the supreme, but also understanding right and wrong. And so as a trustee, my role is to nurture and support and educate. But that's all I can do. I can't do anything more than that. And if I try to hold, I'm not going to allow the child to fly. If there's a butterfly, you have to let it grow, and the wings will carry the butterfly away. It's not going to stay in one place. And so this child of mine, I hope, will grow up to be as beautiful as a butterfly, as light and free as a butterfly, and be able to conquer the world. But I have to give that child space to have the wings and fly.
Yeah, but I think that's, because in today's world, if we look at, I think that's the most difficult thing to let go. Not only the child, even parent. See, when parents grow old, if we talk about the old age aspect, again there is a lot of, and how to create a balance. I don't own my parents. Okay, if the child is not being owned by me, the parents are also not owned by me.
Definitely.
But then even I have to do things the way they did. This consciousness is not there. Why is it important that I take care of them?
Care is a natural quality of human nature. We are born to be caring. We're not born to live in isolation, but we're born to be part of that unit. And so it's a natural instinct to be able to care. And this is something which is true, that's been researched again by scientists. There's amazing research happening out there. And they show how even animals, their natural instinct is to care. And so even on that level, caring is a human quality which is absolutely as it should be. And so to care for a child who can't take care of himself, of course it's my responsibility. Let me do it in the awareness of God's grace. Parents, again, how long are they going to be with me? They don't know, I don't know. And so let their last days be filled with dignity. That's the thing. We forget about the dignity of the human being, whether it's the child or whether it's the parent. If there's something I can do to make their last days, years be more comfortable, have the facilities that I can enable them to have, let me do all of that. But let me always offer them freedom of choice and respect their freedom of choice.
And the question then comes that I'll keep on doing for everyone. Who will do for me? That's what the biggest question which people have. It's like, I'll do for this, I'll do for my kids, I'll do for my parents, I'll do for the society, I'll do for my loved one. And who will bother about me? What about me? Nobody thinks about me.
There was a very beautiful thing I learned, not just from a spiritual teacher, but this time from a biologist. His name is Humberto Maturana, and he's very famous in Latin America. And he's now in his 80s, I suppose, but I've had interaction with him for several years. And in the last encounter that he had with Daddy Janki, it was a dialogue. And so two people at that time, both in their 80s, one totally spiritual, devoted to God, the other one a Westerner from Chile, and a biologist, a scientist, and yet with such respect for each other that when he was asked, do you believe in God? He didn't want to say no, even though he doesn't, out of respect for Daddy. And he gave a beautiful example. He said, what we've forgotten about is trust. And everything in the universe works with trust. But we've had our trust broken again and again. And this is why we've forgotten about it. But like when a butterfly is born, it's born in trust. It knows that it'll have a proboscis that's long enough to be able to take the nectar from a flower, that there will be a flower which has nectar on it. It's born in trust, and so it survives. A baby is born. It doesn't have knowledge or information, but it's born in trust that it will be cared for. It will not just survive, but it will be looked after with a lot of love. And so when I'm doing something for another and I'm caring for them, I have to also have the trust that at my moment of need, there will be others who will be there to care for me. Yeah. And it's absolutely a factor of cause and effect, action and reaction. I've seen it happen because I've seen a person who has had a lot of love and care for others, and at the moment of her departure, she was only in her 40s, and at the moment of her departure, there were so many people who wanted to care for her. We had too many people. We had to organize a rota. Okay, you come for this hour, and so on. And yet there was another individual, and a very angry person, and she had caused a lot of grief to everybody. And the reality, nobody wanted to spend time with her. With this individual, they all wanted it. And they said how uplifting it was to spend time with this individual. And this one, they'd say, well, if you don't have anybody else, I'll go and help them. But it was like, not out of their hearts, but out of duty. And yes, people helped, but not in that same spirit. Yeah. And then they'd come back and be exhausted because even in that condition, she was draining them. She wasn't uplifting them. And so karma goes round and round and round and comes back straight at me.
Wonderful, yeah. That's actually true, that if I am doing anything good, I have to have the trust, that somebody out there is waiting for me to give me that love which I'm seeking. And of course, if no one else is there, he's there. He's already there.
Well, never mind no one else,
Yeah.
but he is there and there's an abundance. But the beautiful thing is that he finds the hands and feet to make his work happen. And so he's giving me that love, but maybe I also need somebody to give me my medicine. And he'll find somebody and he'll inspire them, and they'll be the one who give me my medicine.
Sister Jayanti, we understand now that how we have created bad blood among relationships, because the strength is that we always thought that our deep attachment, our strong attachment to any relationship is our strength. But somewhere we have to let go. Even if it's a beloved, even if it's a child, even if it's a parent, we have to let them go and grow. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
The relationships can again become beautiful if we really give it, if we really think about it, what we've been doing to our relationships. If there is any question, any query, you're welcome. You can always call in or you can mail your questions. Our address is.
If you wish to discuss your problem or have a question to ask or want to know your nearest Raj Yoga Meditation Center, call us on 09999744555.
There is much more to the relationships. It's not just about attachment. Still, a lot of things, a lot of aspects in relationships need to be explored. In the coming episodes, we'll try to find out what's really happening in our relationships. Till then, have a wonderful, beautiful relationship within your family and with your loved ones. Awakening with Brahma Kumaris will be back. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.